Okay, I finished with the coat, I think they call it the coat. The coat, where it did, remember we trimmed, did the outline, and now I've just completed step 12, which was the placement line scarf fabric. So when you see on your color change, this is block 2, number 12, and it says placement line scarf fabric. When it says placement line only, you don't have to do anything, just let the machine stitch out where it's going, where the fabric will be going, so you know where it goes. I changed my thread to match the thread that I'm going to use on this section of the scarf, which I'm going to do it with purple. So I went ahead and changed my thread, and it did the outline of where my fabric's going to go. So whenever you see the words placement line, you know you don't have to put your fabric down yet. You don't have to do anything. It's just going to show you where to put your fabric down. Otherwise, you wouldn't know exactly where it went. So I've done that. So now I'm going to lay down my scarf fabric, and we've got to remember that we've got to have that half inch seam allowance on this side. But now because I'm up at the top of the design, I want to, let me see if I can get my hand without being in the way here. I want to make sure that up the top I also have the half inch. So the only place where I'll be trimming is inside of this stitch line, which would be right here and down here. So when I place my fabric down over my lines, I want to make sure that I have a half inch over here, which I have plenty, but I also want to make sure I've got enough to cover this very edge here as well. And I've got a half inch at the top. And I've covered down here, and I've got to remember I'm coming way down to here, to right here. Can you see right here? So I want to make sure I've got enough there. You don't want to, you need about 1/4 of an inch or more. Otherwise, like I said before, you stitch close to this edge and you might catch part of it. Your fabric might fray a little bit. So you don't want to be that close. So we're all set to, I've placed my fabric, changed my thread, and I'm all set to go. So this is, now I'm on 13, and it says it's the tack down and detail of the scarf. And if you're wondering, okay, at what point do I have to stop it to do my trim? You never have to stop in the middle of a stitch out to do a trim. There should be a stop for it. So if I look at my next one, number 14, it says satin scarf. So that's telling me that I'm going to trim after 13 is done. Before I do 14, it's the satin stitch, which I know is my final stitch on this section. So I'll know that that's when I'm going to trim before I do that. And I'm going to go ahead and let it finish stitching out, and then I will come back and finish up the rest. Okay, so it did the tack down, and it did the decorative stitching, or I guess like detail stitching. And so now I'm going to leave this, because this is my seam allowance. I'm going to leave this over here, seam allowance again. So I just need to trim out along here. So I'm going to do that right in the hoop, hopefully, because it's all facing me and it's only a little section. I don't need to go all the way around the hoop. I'll try to keep my hand out of the way as best I can. Let me get started here first. And I'm going to come right out on that angle. So maybe on this one I can put you a little closer that you can see. Oh, that's going to make you dizzy, isn't it? Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. So you can see I get pretty close to the line. And again, everything seems to be pretty big satin stitch, which generally means on a satin stitch it's like 50% on this fabric and 50% on the background fabric. So I'm fine. So I've left my seam allowance, and now I just have to let it go. It's going to finish up that, and the last part is going to be decorative edge for background fabric. So my background fabric is my white, so it's going to do that decorative edge. Let's see. that we did on this. Now I'm a little too close to you. Let me back it up a little bit more. Oop, wrong way. There we go. So this is my decorative edge. So now I have to remember I need to change to blue thread. So let me just do that. And so I'm on number 15 of block 2, which is my last one. And remember I said always cut your thread at the top and then pull it through your needle, pulling forward instead of trying to pull your thread backwards through your tension and going the wrong way, and eventually that'll cause you a problem. You know, you might get away with it here and there, or you might get away with it at first, or you could have got away with it for a while, but it just will build up fibers in your tension disc area and cause you problems along the way. So let me get my thread on. And I will say it's nice to have a machine that threads the needle. Can't complain about that. And so now it should be doing the stitching right along here. I don't remember if it goes up the side. No, it just goes along the bottom. And the reason I know that is because I can look right up here. That shows me what's going to happen and where exactly it is. And it's highlighted down here. So I know I'm going straight across there. So I'm going to let this do its work. It's going to finish doing that decorative stitch along that edge, and then I'm going to trim it. I'm going to take it out of the hoop, and I'm going to trim it the same way I did the other one. Putting my ruler, my 1/2 inch line with my ruler along the, do this. I'm going to put the 1/2 inch edge of my ruler along this line right here, and I'm going to cut off anything beyond this 1/2 inch on all 4 sides, and that's another block done. So I hope you have fun with this, and when I get to the end, I will do a video on how to put it all together.